Hello everyone! Today I'll show you how I make pulled pork and barbecue sauce. Let's do this. We'll start off with the main ingredients, 4 pounds of pork butt. Despite its name, it is actually the shoulder of the pig and not its rear. We want to cut this down into pieces that will fit into your pot nicely. No need to be uniform, so slice chunks of pork and put aside. After you've washed your hands from touching raw meat, let's continue with the spice rub. We're going to use 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika, or regular if that's all you have, 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of grounded ginger, 1 teaspoon of grounded garlic, and a couple cracks of pepper. Pause the video to see the ratio on the top left if needed. A detailed write-up is also available in the description below. Toss your chunks of pork into the mix and cover each piece with the rub. Set aside the pieces and continue until you end up with a mountain of spiced meat. Now we're ready to cook. Heat up a pot with a lid that is oven safe on your stovetop and add some oil into it. While the oil is heating up, set your oven to 300 degrees. Once the oil is nice and hot, add a portion of your pork into the pot in an even layer, making sure not to overcrowd the pot, as what we're trying to achieve here is some nice browning to start build some initial flavors. Routinely flip the pieces as the spice could burn, and once you have nice browning on all sides, about half a minute on each side, set aside and continue with the next batch until every piece has a nice crust. Add all the pork back in and crack open a can of beer. It's not for you though, it's all for the pork. If you don't have any beer at home, you can also use root beer or Coke. The sugars in the soda caramelize while slow cooking, giving the pork that beautiful sweet flavor. Cover your pot with a lid. Grab your trusty oven mitts and pop the whole thing into the oven for 3 hours. 3 hours flew by and your kitchen is smelling delicious. But don't turn off your oven just yet. Take your pot out and remove the lid. You can see that the pork is cooked, but not extremely tender. Give the pieces a shuffle and put the whole thing back into the oven without the lid for another hour or until the pork is tender enough to shred. Removing the lid also helps further browning. And finally, it's time! Let's take this out of the oven and see what has gotten our neighbors hungry. The pork here is just falling apart and got wonderful color from that direct heat in the oven. That browning is known as Maillard reaction, named after Elsie Maillard, and it's exactly what we're looking for. Remove and let the pork rest. It has had a long day. Don't waste the pan dripping though, and we can use that to make our own barbecue sauce. Heat up the pan dripping and first add in a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Then we add 1½ cup of ketchup, 1/2 cup of Dijon mustard, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and 1/3 cup of vinegar. Reduce until a sauce-like consistency, about 30 minutes. In the meantime, grab 2 forks and go full Wolverine on the well-rested pork. Hold each piece with a fork and just pull away with the other. Keep going until you have a bowl or 2 of nicely pulled pork. There are numerous ways to use pulled pork, but for tonight, we're going to make some sandwiches. Mix in your own barbecue sauce, and we're in business. I've used pulled pork in many applications, including but not limited to fried rice, burritos, tacos, and chilies. But the possibilities are endless. Store the rest in your fridge until inspiration strikes. And this is how I make pulled pork and barbecue sauce.